The New England Patriots are flying down to Miami to take on Tua Tagovailoa and the Miami Dolphins. My name's Tyler, here with my brother Ryan, who's a giant Patriots fan, and we're going to break down this Week 2 matchup between the Patriots and Dolphins. Before we get into it, though, be sure to leave a comment. Let us know who you think is going to win and why, and hit that subscribe button to get notified when new videos come out. And Ryan, I want to throw it over to you here. Your New England Patriots did not particularly play too well today as they lost to the Las Vegas Raiders at home. But lucky enough for you, the worst team of Week 1 award goes to the Miami Dolphins.
Miami Dolphins. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, they did not play well. They did not play well. So Week 2 is a rebound game for both of these two teams. What do your New England Patriots need to do to improve so they make sure that they come out victorious?
Honestly, the biggest thing is Drake Maye needs to play better. I think if you go and you watch that game, the momentum was in New England's favor. Drake Maye got careless on a throw there late in the third quarter. It got picked off, and then from that point on, it was all Raiders. They went down. It was 10-7. They went down, scored a touchdown, and then after that, the defense really struggled. And to me, I think that's really what it comes down to. I think you look, Kayshon Boutte, 6 catches on 7 targets for 103 yards. Stephon Diggs was in a limited role in his first game back since a torn ACL. Hunter Henry had a good game. The offensive line could improve, but honestly, I expected some struggles across the offensive line. It's still better than it was last year, which is kind of crazy because they had like 4 or 5 penalties today and they gave up 4 sacks as well. And so I think there is still a lot of room for improvement, but I definitely think in terms of winning this game, Drake Maye needs to play better. And I think that's just a matter of fact there. Defensively, I was actually fairly happy with how they played. They had 4 sacks. Harold Landry specifically had 2.5. He also had 2 tackles for loss as well. That front 7 is very good. I expected some struggle in the secondary, especially when you look. Dante Thornton had a good training camp, and he looks like a promising young wide receiver there. Brock Bowers is a really good tight end. And I think they just had some fits there because it was a little bit, the offense was run through Brock Bowers a lot. I know he got banged up, and then Ashton Genty in that running game looks to be pretty solid as well. And that, especially that offensive interior was solid. Although they only allowed 56 rushing yards. So they only ran the ball 12 times, I thought. They didn't run it a lot. So I think going into this matchup, well, here, let's talk about the Dolphins here for a second. That was one of the worst, like, whole team performances I've seen in a long time. I really don't know how good the Colts are because it just felt like the Dolphins let them do whatever they wanted. Tua did not play well. He had 2 really bad interceptions. The offensive line really struggled to protect him. I know that this Colts team has a pretty good pass rush, but I would say that the Patriots is probably about similar. Especially too, I think the Raiders probably have a better offensive line, and the Patriots got 4 sacks on them this past week. And so I really think if the Dolphins can protect Tua and they can stop this or slow down this Patriots pass rush, that's going to be the Dolphins' key to this game. Because then at that point, they could probably just outscore the Patriots, especially if Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill are healthy. But if they start letting Tua get hit and Tua starts making some of these really bad decisions, I actually could see a very similar result to Week 1 for the Dolphins here in Week 2, because I think one thing that this defense did prove was that they are opportunistic. They, especially in stints, can really get after the passer. And if Terrell Williams and Mike Vrabel really start scheming things up, I think this Dolphins offensive line is going to have their hands full here in Week 2. So that's kind of my general thoughts coming into this game. I'm curious what your thoughts are coming to it.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for both of these teams, and this is more just in general, is I think going to be the offensive line. And so Drake Maye, yes, could have made some better decision making. I noticed some indecisiveness, and maybe that's just a Week 1 thing. And he's still kind of in his rookie. Like, I know he's not a rookie, but like he hasn't played a full set
Also
of
has a
games
whole
just yet.
new offensive coordinator and a whole
Yeah,
new system.
well,
Yeah.
especially to the Josh McDaniel systems, especially offensively, we all can agree are is really good, but they can get complex.
It's very
And so
complex. Yeah. It's
so
probably the
so
most complex system.
yeah, and so and he went to North Carolina. He didn't go to Duke, so it might take him a little bit longer. to get it. And so, sorry, that was just a joke there. I thought that was a pretty good joke. But in general, though, so that being said, though, so talk about the offensive line for the Patriots. Offensive line for the Dolphins was already not good, and then now it looks like James Daniels, he left the game with a pec injury. Maybe it potentially could have torn his pec. Is still getting reports on that, so that's something to follow throughout. Austin Jackson also, he did not return to the game because he hurt his toe, and so that offensive line that was already not great just was already then not playing well as on top of that, and that was the whole right side of the line. And so I think that's going to be the thing that's just going to be a struggle for Miami is how is if they're already depleted on an offensive line, how are they going to protect Tua? How are they going to be able to make sure that their routes are in timing? Because that's the whole thing with their offense. And when it's clicking, it's really good because it's all these timing routes. It's 1-2 throw, 1-2 throw, and that's it. But if Tua has to go through his reads, he doesn't have the time or to go through his reads because the offensive line doesn't allow him. But also, too, that's just not the game that they play overall.
Yeah.
And so it's getting the ball quickly to their playmakers. So I'm really looking forward to the matchup between Christian Gonzalez if he's able to play, and then Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. See how that ends up working out. That's going to help out your guys' defense a lot. So it, it it was just all in all just not a good week one game for both these teams, significantly worse for Miami. And so I think the thing that the Dolphins can kind of hang their hat on a little bit is I do think that their defensive line played decently well. They were able to get after Daniel Jones a little bit, put some pressure on him. They did give up 156 rushing yards, yes, but it was only 71 to Jonathan Taylor, so that's average on four. And then um, there were some other like Daniel Jones like QB sneaks in there as well. So I, I'm not too concerned either as well about the Patriots running game. So I'm curious on your thoughts on that also when it comes to this matchup here. But I think with that though, both teams are going to make improvements. It really can't get much worse for Miami. And when I'm looking at predictions here, I think the Patriots could absolutely go down there and win this game. But they have not won in Miami since 2019. It is going to be early September in this game here. And actually, ironically too, they last time they won was September 15th of 2019. So if it was September 15th,
Actually, I believe that game
2025,
was a
I'd
shutout.
43 to nothing, yes. And
Yeah.
so I actually am going to go with Miami here. I do think both teams are going to continue to keep on improving. Yes. However, I do believe Miami's just going to make some of those more massive improvements, and I think there's going to be some big plays that they're finally going to be able to connect on because it really couldn't get much worse for Miami today. I think the
Yeah.
Patriots will improve on, but I do think there's going to be still a little bit more of this learning development curve of the Josh McDaniels offense. Now that being said, though, Miami cannot protect Tua. Then this is not going to be. I can see your Patriots going down there and getting their first win in Miami in 6 years.
Yeah. So that's actually why I'm going to take New England. One, because I really think this offensive line is probably the worst in the league.
It's close.
They have really struggled to protect Tua. I know it's week one, so you're going to have a lot of exaggerations, but really for like the last couple seasons, they've really just struggled to protect him. And so I think going from that, this Patriots pass rush, and granted, we're going off week one. I think this Patriots pass rush is pretty solid, especially this interior group. You have Christian Barmore, Milton Williams, Harold Landry. It was one of the big free agent signings that they made. Caleb on Chason had a lot of pressure today as well. Keon White, and it's not just the top guys, but it's also the rotation that they have. And I think the Patriots are going to be able to get consistent pressure onto but then also looking at the Miami game today in Indianapolis, they were struggling to get plays called. They were struggling with basic functions. Tyreek Hill and some of the guys were yelling at each other over on the sidelines. I think there's a larger culture
Yeah.
issue potentially down there in Miami. And based off of observations,
No.
and yes, those can be a little overblown, but I, I think there's larger issues in Miami right now than just protecting Tua that are going to help the Patriots pull this one out.
Yeah. No. We were talking with Dad about that while we were all watching the games today, and it's. I like Mike McDaniel's a lot. I think he is a heck of an offensive coordinator. But when I think of like that head coach style, like he does have some personalities that are down there too, particularly Tyreek Hill, for being completely honest.
Yeah.
And so maybe there's some other things that are going down into it. But I also think though too is we've seen this style of game from Miami now for the past couple of years, and it seems like that's still just their one trick pony. Now there's some things that are not really set him up for success. Like they've had cap space issues as well. They've had just not really the draft picks as well too, but a lot of it because of the Tyreek Hill trade. So
Mhm.
that all being said, though, we'll have to see how this year pans out. But I do think that if you're Miami, you're like, do we just blow this up and just get rid of Tyreek Hill? Maybe even trade Jalen Waddle. Like we could probably get some draft picks for him there, start over, get
Oh
somebody
yeah.
fresh down there, um, and change this thing up. It'd be like let's while you're still paying Tua, let's see what else you can do. Like, let's at least try and give him an offensive line. Let's try and give him a different style of game to see if he can also do that. If he can be that, I would say because he is a pocket passer, but he is like it is a timing offense. Like it has to be off these timing
Yeah.
routes, so to say. Um, but start to set this team up to play maybe a different way. And
Yeah.
that's gonna come with new leadership. Maybe hire Brian
Yeah.
Flores. You know,
Uh,
he's doing well.
wouldn't that be
That would be really
former
funny.
defensive coordinator or for actually no, he was their head coach
He was their head
for a
coach.
while.
Yeah. Never mind. I take that back.
Yeah. Uh no, but I think that like if they go that route, and now we're getting into hypotheticals, but if they go that route, I think Tua would probably be moved in a trade or something
That's
as
a
well.
that's a fat
Uh
contract though, and you got a bunch of rookie
yeah.
quarterbacks coming up. Like it might honestly be like an Atlanta Falcons situation where like nobody wants that contract,
Yeah.
and and so
Potentially. The
like
difference there is Tua is 28 and
yeah, but he's got a brain of a 70-year-old. If we're being honest, I mean this thing
yeah.
is so mushy.
Yeah.
With all due respect to Tua, I'm not trying to be rude, but I mean
You're
come on,
not
we're
calling
all
him
football.
stupid. You're just saying he's had a lot of concussions. I get it.
Yeah,
But
that's what I'm calling
so for on that note, let's wrap this video up. No, but I do think that this is going to be a close game, probably for all the wrong reasons. I did expect some trouble with New England just getting adjusted to the new system. I figured the defense would be quicker to adjust than the offense. But I think, again, I just think there are larger issues than adjusting to a system in Miami right now. So you're taking the Dolphins. I'm taking the Patriots. Let's go ahead. Let's wrap this video up here. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. That is the best way to help out the channel. While you're down there, leave a comment on who you think is going to come out ahead. Will it be the New England Patriots? Will it be the Miami Dolphins? Other than that, we'll see you guys next time.